Hey everyone, welcome back to $5 Movies, the movie review show where we will talk about your movie if we can see it for $5 or less.
This week we actually saw a current movie. We saw Victor Frankenstein.
Catch it before it's out of theaters.
We saw it at the Living Room Theater on a Monday or Tuesday, when it's $5, which is pretty cool. Cool thing that they have there.
Yeah, I mean, usually on the show we're reviewing movies already in their second run, but yeah, this is our first new release. Pretty cool. So let's talk about Victor Frankenstein. I feel like I should just freeze frame it and have the title come up.
You still can. And you will. He's making a reference to the fact that every time that the name Victor Frankenstein was said, well, not every time, but every time that Victor Frankenstein was supposed to say his own name, he doesn't say it, it just freeze frames and says on the screen, Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah. The movie's called Victor Frankenstein, but it really should have been called Igor.
Yeah, true. Good, very good point.
Harry Potter is back as Igor, the hunchbacked carnival clown assistant to Victor Frankenstein.
I was worried clowns was going to be our ongoing theme in all of our reviews.
He did juggle, I think, for a scene.
Yeah, and he had face paint on, but he came back from that. It wasn't about him being a clown or about him being a performer like that.
It wasn't.
So I was glad.
But we were with him in that circus world for a while, where Daniel Radcliffe looked so much to me like Mork and Mindy era Robin Williams, when he had face paint and he had weird eyes and he had this matted big hair. It was bad. I was just like, oh, it looks like stoned Robin Williams at the carnival. And then he meets Professor X, aka Victor Frankenstein, and they have the same superpower of steampunk X-ray vision.
Yeah, they can just see the anatomy of any animal or that goes past them. They can just look, or a person, they can just look at it and they see the whole anatomy and they see how the bones are moving and they just know what is happening inside and what to do.
Together they save a trapeze artist and then they become buddies.
Well, then there's a crazy release from the circus kind of scene.
Oh yeah, they have to fight some circus people. They have to fight some carnies. Frankenstein fighting carnies isn't a bad concept for a movie, but it doesn't really stay in that. I don't know. We actually kind of have a difference of opinion on this movie.
I liked it.
I thought this was spectacular trash. Just because it didn't know what the fuck it wanted to be.
True. I mean, that's true.
It did not know what kind of movie it wanted to be. But
it kept your attention.
Yeah.
Get my attention.
I took a couple bathroom breaks.
I wouldn't have been able to. I would have been holding it.
If the movie was just a buddy movie with Frankenstein and Igor making a monster, I think I would have been into it, because the scenes where they, so basically it's a retelling of the Frankenstein story where they don't actually even get to the events of Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein until the last 5 minutes of the movie, and then drastically altered. But if it was just a buddy movie with those two guys throwing slabs of meat together and making a monster, that stuff was pretty cool. I like them. There's a scene where they animate a proto monster chimpanzee.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
It was. I never saw a preview. I didn't know anything that was happening, and I expected it to be just a repeat of every other Frankenstein movie, and it wasn't. It's supposed to be a prequel and to learn about who Igor was.
the question no one wanted the answer to.
Yeah, exactly. But I was surprisingly interested.
It was okay. I mean, I get it. Again, but for a movie called Victor Frankenstein is a supporting character.
Yeah,
and
he is.
Even though I thought that James McAvoy gave a pretty decent performance, I didn't he was kind of.
I didn't care about him.
I didn't care about him. You just care about it's
I care about Igor.
Igor has a romance plot that you don't give a shit about.
I think I liked her because she was in Downton Abbey, and I liked her in that. And so I liked the romantic interest.
My side eye is a crazy eye this week. Yeah. I guess because Harry Potter is in it, they decided to have Malfoy too, because there's an obnoxious rich blonde person who's like kind of the villain, but he's like
kind of a love interest for Frankenstein. There was like some weird sexual tension between those two.
There was some subtext going on. So yeah, this movie, yeah, it fleshes out the character of Igor and tells the story from his perspective, but it also sort of weirdly digs into other pieces of Frankenstein lore, but not the book, because Igor isn't even in the book.
I didn't read the book.
So in the movie, Frankenstein also has like they allude to him having a brother, Henry Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Frankenstein was the name of Frankenstein from the Universal movie from the 30s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Victor Frankenstein is from the book. Henry Frankenstein is from the movie. I think they wanted to make him sound more American, and so this movie kind of as a reference to that. It also has, besides Malfoy, because it's Malfoy. I don't remember that character's name at all. There's another villain who is a conservative, religious police inspector.
Yeah.
Who just has a weird grudge.
He's like poor man's. Who's that actor that people like?
Benedict Cumberbatch?
No.
Who?
No. The Hulk.
Dustin Hoffman? The Hook?
The Hulk.
Oh, the
motherfucker.
Mark Ruffalo?
Yes.
Okay.
Does he look like poor man's Mark Ruffalo?
He kind of has a face like a thumb. So, yeah, I guess so.
I think Mark Ruffalo's attractive.
Like an attractive thumb.
Well, this guy was also an attractive thumb. But he was a butthead.
He was a total butthead. He sucked. The whole reason that he has a grudge and why he's the antagonist of the movie is just like so inconsequential. And it's like, why the fuck? It didn't make any sense. And it just felt very thrown in because it's like, well, this movie needs a villain.
They needed it to feel more pressured and like move things along. So they needed, the cop, but no cop is actually interested. So they had to throw in a religious twist to it.
Yeah.
That would make a reason for a cop to give a shit and to like actually follow up on this thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say is the police inspector guy gets his hand mangled, and where he gets a replacement wooden hand, and that was a reference to Young Frankenstein, where there's a police inspector with a wooden arm, but he's always like moving a wooden arm around.
Young Frankenstein isn't the one with
Gene Wilder.
Oh, no, that's what I was thinking. What's the Australian actor? What's his name? He's like a total like Pauly Shore, but
Yahoo Serious?
Yes. Isn't there a Young Frankenstein with Yahoo Serious?
That's Young Einstein. Young Frankenstein is the classic Mel Brooks, Gene Wilder movie.
I swear I've seen Young Frankenstein sitting on the shelf at one of the houses I lived at, and just assumed it was a Yahoo Serious movie, and would have watched a Yahoo Serious movie.
I can't believe I'm doing a show with you. So it's just this movie was just really weird. Like I didn't hate it, but it just felt very mishmashed, and I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I was just like, then this scene's gonna happen, and because it's a weird prequel, and because everyone knows the story of Frankenstein, I didn't feel any tension. I knew where it was going. I didn't feel surprised by it, and then they finally get in the last few minutes to get to the monster, and he was cool looking.
He was cool,
but they kill him? Spoilers, obviously. Again, like the part of this movie that worked were when Igor and Victor were like getting down and learning things and like sewing together dead things and zapping them with electricity. And like that could be a cool movie. So I was disappointed just because I saw the potential for a much cooler movie.
But I guess they wanted to show what it actually got to, like the part it actually. They wanted it to be a prequel, but they wanted to then have action
Yeah.
about like actually them, a monster actually being made.
And there's a setup for a weird sequel. It's like it leaves it off like, I might write you again, Igor, in case we make another monster in a couple of years. But that's not going to happen because this movie tanked at the box office.
I can't imagine a sequel happening of that. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't see how or why they would do that and pay for those actors again.
Not going to happen. How are we going to rate this thing? This is the toughest part of every show. I'm going to get my pizza.
That's a burnt pizza. That doesn't even look good. It's hard. It's super hard to talk about a movie that you kind of like but don't love. Like, I liked it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm probably never going to watch it again, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much better than so many movies I've seen recently. But that's just because, I kind of actively seek out terrible movies. So it's really not saying a lot. And I like Harry Potter. He's pleasant. I don't What? Is that a...
You're a wizard, Igor! 9 out of 10 Potters?
No, it's not that good. Come on. I would say like 4 Potters, 6 Muggles.
That's good. And again, 1 wand. Alright, thanks a lot for joining us on $5 Movies.
Thank you again.
I've been Kettner, and this has been Monica. See you next time.
I can't stop the monster I created.
A really good scene while you're getting pizza.
Oh yeah.
And just started chanting pizza.